the greatest damn show on YouTube.
For sure, yeah. XX, what it do, XX? Leo, what it do? Everybody double tap the screen, man. Shut a live out, man. I was just making sure everything was everything, man. Hold on, chat. Make sure everything is everything, man. Miles, drop the phone number. Somebody drop the phone number in here. They calling already. Oh, this the trolls. Damn. Y'all ass be calling trolling me early as hell. I ain't tripping. I'm finna go on and block you now. I'm glad you called early. Before the show started, I'm sure glad you called early. I'm gonna get your ass on the block list early and often. Damn. So glad you called. Let me block you. Block number. Block. Get your ass out of here, man. Get your ass out of here, man. Let me pin this. Alright, man. Oh, man. Double tap the screen. Shut a live out. What we doing tonight, chat? What we doing tonight, chat? Double tap the screen, shut a live out. I am still on road, as y'all can see. I'm in the makeshift studio. I had to make it do what it do, man. I could not come live. I promised y'all earlier when my laptop was dying and I couldn't get it charged that I would come live tonight, and I just didn't feel right now coming back live. So y'all see the makeshift studio. Give me your best makeshift studio joke, you know what I'm saying? And we'll pin the comment for the best makeshift studio joke. Yes, I'm in the damn vehicle going live, man. This is what you call dedication, determination, man. We don't bend, we don't break, we don't fold, man. Double tap the screen, shut a live out, man. Oh, man. Double tap the screen, shut a live out, man. What we doing tonight, chat? We got John Bolton rated by Cash Patel. Maxwell says Trump is innocent. And we got Gavin Newsome versus J.D. Vance. We heard Elon Musk has switched up his ideology on the third party, and he's taking a liking to J.D. Vance. We got Gavin Newsome getting the California redistricting approved. We got John Bolton getting raided by the FBI, and we got Maxwell. I believe some of the statements have been released that she did not witness Trump doing anything. Double tap the screen, shut a live out, call your auntie, uncle, and your cousin, tell them plug live, and he running his mouth. I don't care if you far left, far right, liberal, conservative, Marxist, fascist. I don't care if you independent. I don't care if you having a good night or if I'm the person that you don't like. Get your ass in here, man. The phone lines are now open. Double tap the screen, shut a live out. Where that baby go?
I told my niggas to mark my word, I guarantee that I'm next. I got the arms of a bodybuilder from the way that I flex. Might just hit the strip just to go blow me a check. They know what the fuck I'm on. They say that they got some of the best gas, they call it Southern Joy. Chain on chain and ice on ice like Adam Sandler, I'm water boy. I know I'm all in the head. Bad bitch laying in my bed. Wait till I give her a spread. I'm a master with the head. Don't let these social fool you, these niggas broke. I know that they ain't bought it. Ain't got no car but talking shit. Okay, then little walkie talkie. I told that bitch to come home. I ain't got time for no bitch that's healing. Talk to blood, she called me daddy. And I'm screaming out no D. I'ma make sure that she come. I'ma fuck her good with my tongue. I know the night is still young. So baby, let's get it in. I know just how she like it tonight. She spicy, she added a friend. They ain't identical, but they fuck alike. So in the bed, I call them twin. I call them twin. Bed, I call them twin. Bitch, and shoot a shoot. 1 + 1 that equal 2. What you tryna do? Go back for back, check a swoop for swoop. Either way it go, I'm on. Either way it go, I'm gone. Brody them just got like 100 on me, they tryna get them gone. What you call it, that wet? What's the name? And he put it in his song. Brody Shorty them got the purest powder, it's pink, you know this shit is strong.
No Diddy.
I'm the type of nigga that turn my bitch up in each city. Brother cut out, we celebrating, we hit the gritty. I'm feeling like a baby, I'm trying to get that milk about them titties. It's no question who young in the ladies. If you want your bitch, then when she talking, hear her. If I want the bitch, I'm going Pittsburgh. Still her. I keep some on the side, I don't have trust in just the main bitch. Suck me up while I'm driving like damn, I die by this lane switch. She a different type of free, so we ain't never got a tussle. Throw it back like Miss London, and sum me up like be hustle. Yeah, shoot me a little part.
Yeah, man. Double tap the screen, shut a live out, man. Call your auntie, uncle, and your cousin, tell them plug live, and he running his mouth. I do want to thank y'all, everybody that showed up and supported the video that I dropped. We do have a video, why aren't minorities protesting in D.C.? That video is doing really well. I hope y'all keep commenting and sharing that video. Why aren't minorities protesting in D.C.? I got the clip there. It shows the protest. It's not a single minority out there. I want y'all to get in there, give me y'all thoughts and opinions. Double tap the screen, shut a live out. Press 1 if this is your first time in my live stream, and I will give you a personalized shout out. Press 1 if this is your first time here, you'll get a shout out. We are 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal, and if you're watching on your phone, please double tap the screen. Let's get straight into this clip of JD Vance talking. I don't want to waste anybody's time because I don't know how much time I have here with y'all tonight. So let's get straight into it.
We've learned that the FBI is searching the home of former Ambassador John Bolton, his office as well.
Sure.
Can you tell me, why is the FBI raiding Ambassador Bolton's home and office, and did the White House get a heads up?
Well, so we're in the very
Okay, so before we get his answer, Michael Tarragett, welcome in. I hope you subscribe. Before we get his answer, put liar or not liar in the chat if you think JD Vance is about to lie or tell the truth here. Liar or not lie for JD Vance's response. Let's hear it.
White House get a heads up?
Well, so we're in the very early stages of an ongoing investigation into John Bolton. I will say we're going to let that investigation proceed. What I can tell you is that unlike the Biden DOJ and the Biden FBI, our law enforcement agencies are going to be driven by law and not by politics. And so if we think that Ambassador Bolton has committed a crime, of course, eventually prosecutions will come. But as you know, Kristen, this is all part of gathering evidence, trying to understand something that we're worried about. And of course, I'll let the FBI comment on the next stage of the investigation.
What's at the root of this? Is this about classified documents?
Well, again, I'll let the FBI speak to that. Classified documents are certainly part of it, but I think that there's a broad concern about Ambassador Bolton. They're going to look into it. And like I said, if there's no crime here, we're not going to prosecute it. If there is a crime here, of course, Ambassador Bolton will get his day in court. That's how it should be. But again, our focus here is on, did he break the law? Did he commit crimes?
So he kind of pushed it off. We see that a lot with this administration. I mean, I guess it's just politics. When you ask them a direct question, they'll refer you to another department. Like, hey, this is not really what I'm here to talk about. This is another department. Hey, man, you the Vice President of the United States, man. We need to hear this shit, man. Bill, welcome in, Bill. I told you I'm giving out personalized shout-outs to everybody that presses 1 for the first time being in here, or you can say first-timer. If you're a first-timer, you'll get a personalized shout out. Bill, welcome in. I hope you subscribe, man. Bill, we go live every single day over here talking entertainment, politics, and current events. I hope you do subscribe. We are chasing 30,000 subscribers right now.
American people. If so, then he deserves to be prosecuted.
As we have this conversation, has Ambassador Bolton been detained, taken into custody, arrested in any form?
So this news just broke this morning, and the FBI, I haven't talked to the FBI this morning. I don't know the answer to that question. I assume that he hasn't been detained and won't be detained until there's actual prosecution, if that actually happens.
So I posed the question earlier, do y'all think that he will have an indictment? Because they didn't put any charges on him and he was not arrested. But they said they're going to go through the evidence. I spoke to it earlier. They're probably going to remove the electronics from his house. They're probably going to remove some file cabinets and things of those sorts. Stephen Potts, welcome in. I hope you subscribe, Stephen Potts. But they're going to go through all of those documents, and then they're going to find if they have enough evidence to charge him. So we're at least 2, maybe 3 weeks to a month out from an indictment coming from this. But I'm asking you guys, do y'all think he will be indicted or not indicted? Put it in the chat. Indicted or not indicted for John Bolton? Do you guys believe he will be indicted or not indicted?
No, Ambassador Bolton is a frequent critic
Sure.
of President Trump's. He's also on Kash Patel's enemies list. The administration has already revoked his security clearance, Secret Service protection. Is Ambassador Bolton...
Yes, they revoked his security clearance. I am not sure if they revoked his when Tulsi Gabbard snatched 37 other people's security clearance or if his was snatched prior to that. But Tulsi Gabbard did just remove the security clearances of 37 different people.
Targeted because he's a critic of President Trump?
No, not at all. And in fact, if we were trying to do that, we would just throw out prosecutions willy-nilly like the Biden administration DOJ did, prosecutions that later got thrown out in court. If we bring a case, and of course we haven't done that yet, the Department of Justice has not done that yet, we are investigating Ambassador Bolton, but if they ultimately bring a case, it will be because they determine that he has broken the law. We're going to be careful about that. We're going to be deliberate about that because we don't think that we should throw people, even if they disagree with us politically, maybe especially if they disagree with us politically, you shouldn't throw people willy-nilly in prison. You should let the law drive these determinations, and that's what we're doing.
You know, a lot of people have already looked at this and said, this looks a lot like retribution. Is this retribution?
Well, who has said it looks a lot like retribution, Kristen? A lot of people who tried to throw Donald Trump in prison for completely fake charges that were later thrown out by multiple different courts. I suspect that if the media and the American people let this case actually unfold, if they let the investigation unfold as it's currently doing, they're going to find out that what we're doing is being very deliberate and being very driven by the national interest and by the law here, and that's as it should be.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on...
Say he's going to be interest-driven and driven by the law. So we're going to watch Trump's announcement. Trump spoke at the White House today. I'm pretty sure he's going to mention Biden. That's what he likes to do. He likes to mention Biden and cleaning stuff up. But we finna watch what he says because he did take a shot at Gavin Newsome. I seen the clips of him taking a shot at Gavin Newsome. I wanted to watch that live with you guys earlier, but as you know, my laptop was not charging. My laptop wasn't charging, so that's why we came back with the the nighttime coverage. Well, we always do nighttime coverage, but that's why especially we came back with the nighttime coverage because I wanted to watch this live with you guys. Double tap the screen, share the live out. We are 25 subscribers away from the next sub goal, man. We are chasing 30,000 subscribers right now. We are chasing 30,000 subscribers right now.
Hey, Brian. Thank you very much. We have a very big announcement to make today. You all know Johnny. He came all the way from Italy, the beautiful country of Italy, to be with us. And he just got off the plane, and he's a hard-working guy, does a phenomenal job with FIFA. Nobody like him. I'm delighted to welcome FIFA President.
This man got a hat on that says Trump was right about everything. Oh my God. This is almost like Rick Ross wearing a chain of Rick Ross wearing a chain. Trump wearing this hat saying Trump was right about everything is almost like Rick Ross wearing a chain of Rick Ross wearing a chain. It's crazy.
Johnny Infantino back to the White House for a major announcement about one of the most anticipated competitions in all of sports, the 2026, and this is a big deal, I'll tell you, I was so happy to get it, the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And it's going to be the World Cup as we know it. It's the biggest, probably the biggest event in sports, I guess, Johnny, right? Yeah. On December 5th of this year, the 2026 FIFA World Cup draw will take place at the Kennedy Center. Some people refer to it as the Trump Kennedy Center, but we're not prepared to do that quite yet, maybe in a week or so. But right here in Washington, D.C., it's a tremendous honor to bring the global event and this incredible group of people and these unbelievable athletes, the best athletes in the world, to the cultural center of our nation's capital. I just left the Kennedy Center. We're spending a lot of money wisely on making it really beautiful. It's going to be beautiful again. It's like Washington, D.C. We had, by the way, in Washington, D.C., we have the lowest crime numbers they've had in years. Zero, it sounds like it's a horrible thing to say, but I might as well say it. Zero murders in the last week since we've done this. That's the first time in memory that that's happened. If you can believe it, how pathetic that is to have to even say it. And I'm tired of listening to these people say how safe it was before we got here. It was unsafe. It was horrible. And Mayor Bowser better get her act straight or she won't be mayor very long, because we'll take it over with the federal government, run it like it's supposed to be run. The numbers were horrible.
Sorry, chat. I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'm using my phone as a camera. So y'all see me now, but I'm on my phone. You know it's makeshift. I'm not in the studio. But he just came from Mayor Bowser and said that she won't have a job before long. We'll take it over and run it federally like it's supposed to be run. Now, y'all know that the guard is supposed to only be able to be there for 30 days. So a lot of people were saying that Trump might try to, just make a stronghold in D.C. with this. And with him saying some shit like that, I don't know, chat. I don't know. Yeah, that hat is pretty crazy, though.
Crime-infested rat hole, and they do have a lot of rats. We're getting rid of them, too. And we've made a lot of progress.
Listen.
0 murders in the last week since we've done this. That's the first time in memory that that's happened. If you can believe it, how pathetic that is to have to even say it. And I'm tired of listening to these people say how safe it was before we got here. It was unsafe. It was horrible. And Mayor Bowser better get her act straight or she won't be mayor very long, because we'll take it over with the federal government, run it like it's supposed to be run. The numbers were horrible. It was a crime-infested rat hole. And they do have a lot of rats. We're getting rid of them, too. And we've made a lot of progress. And it was extremely unsafe, and now it's extremely safe. We had virtually...
He said he'll take it over and run it federally. Run it like it's supposed to be run. I know I'm not tripping, Chad. He said it. Credit. What's up, Sunset? I hope you're having a good night, Sunset. What's up, Marion? I hope you're having a good night, Marion. Art of War, what it do? Y'all double tap the screen for me. Let's get the likes up, man. Let's get 20, 30 quick likes in here. Let's get some people in here tonight. Let's have fun. Let's get active in the chat, man. What we doing?
No crime. The number was down 87%, and I'm trying to figure out where was the 13%, because I don't think it existed. The National Guard has been unbelievable, and they're working with the police, and they have some very good people in there. They have some people that shouldn't be police, actually, but they have some great people there. And the Washington, D.C. is a whole different place. And, Johnny, I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that, too, actually.
Oh, yes.
But it's a whole different place. People are excited again. They're going out to restaurants again. That was the other thing I saw numbers. That restaurant business is down in the last week. I know. Restaurant business, you can't get into a restaurant. Just really lying people. And that's why people don't understand.
Okay, so he's saying reports are coming out that the restaurant business is down since the National Guard has been patrolling D.C. But he's saying that the restaurants are packed full. You can't even get a table. So, chat, if is anybody in here in the D.C. area? I'm in the South right now. So I'm nowhere near D.C. I need boots on the ground. If anybody's in that area, let us know how the atmosphere is.
And how dishonest the press is. I saw one poll that had us at 19% favorable on what we're doing with Washington. Then I saw another one that has us 94% favorable. And I can tell you the 94% is correct. The others are fake, just fake news. They got to get their act together. So bad for our country, so sick, actually. So Washington, D.C. is really doing unbelievably well.
Okay, I see it in the chat. Maxwell said that Trump was innocent and he did nothing, chat. Press 1 in the chat if you believe her. Press 2 in the chat if you do not believe her. We'll just go throw that out there. We'll get into that later.
And the Kennedy Center that we're fixing, I was just there all morning with contractors. We're making it unbelievable.
FC, you in D.C., call in, FC. The number's pinned on the top. FC, call in, man. What it's like in D.C. with the restaurants. Trump saying that the restaurants are packed and no one can get in the restaurants. And the reports are coming out that that's not true, that the restaurants are empty. So it's kind of conflicting stories. What did you say, FC? You said National Guard is in tourist areas, increased LE presence in the rest of the city. Okay. Yeah, what is it like with the restaurants, though? What is the restaurants looking like out there?
needs a lot of work. The World Cup draw will set up the group stage of competition. 48 teams will play in 104 games across 16 North American cities, from Seattle to Vancouver to Atlanta to Miami. It's going to be so exciting for our country. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be one of the largest and most complex events. This will be one of the greatest events, one of the largest. In a way, it's like Johnny said it better. It's like having...
Okay, FC says the restaurants are definitely not empty. The restaurants are definitely not empty. Okay, you said he's innocent except for all those crimes he actually is convicted of. I bet y'all won't double tap the screen is what Lala said. Let me see, man. You say restaurants are pretty crowded. Okay, so he's saying the restaurants are pretty crowded.
Super Bowls in a short period of time. Because each one of these games essentially is a Super Bowl. Some of them are bigger than Super Bowls, actually. But they're essentially, each one of these games is like a Super Bowl. The 2026 FIFA World Cup will be the largest, most complex set of events in sports history. And the Kennedy Center will give it a phenomenal kickoff, and we'll be involved, and they'll be working over there for quite a bit of time. We have it all set that they can stay there for the big events, the big press conferences and everything else. And they'll be in a very safe capital. That will be nice. You don't have to worry about walking down the street, Johnny, okay? But you can handle yourself. Already, FIFA is projecting 6 million loyal fans will attend the World Cup events next year, and 6 billion more are going to be watching back home, and they think the $6 billion number is going to be actually a low number. And this will drive more than $30 billion into the U.S. economy and create 185,000 American jobs in a short period of time, too. No sporting event attracts more attention, more fans, more viewers, or more revenue than the FIFA World Cup. And again, I'll just say it's the World Cup, and it's the biggest thing there is in sports, and we have it. And I got it in my first administration, and I was really somewhat devastated, as devastated as I can be. I don't have time to get too devastated. I was very happy that today, as you saw, the group that does this, the government group, radical left group, announced that Trump was right. $4 trillion worth of tariffs, that the $4 trillion are going to reduce the deficit by numbers far greater than they ever expected or heard of. And by the way, the stock market went up 1,000 points. That was as of 10 minutes ago. I can't tell you what happened. A lot of things happened. But the stock market's up almost 1,000 points.
Y'all let me know, man. Stock market up 1,000 points. Y'all feeling good out there, man? I did see that Kanye dropped that Yeezy coin and he dumped on all of his investors. They said 94% of the Yeezy coin was held by insiders, and they immediately dumped on everyone, man. So if you got caught holding a bag on that Yeezy coin, I'm sorry, man.
It's basically on the news that the release, it just came out from government, that the tariffs that everybody was talking about, that the whole world respects us for because of what we did. The tariffs are going to be at $4 trillion. They're going to reduce the deficit by $4 trillion, Mr. Vice President. What do you think? Too bad it's not 5, right?
That's right.
It's had a huge impact, and the stock market is way up. But this will drive more than $30 billion in U.S. economy and create 185,000 American jobs. No sporting event attracts more attention or more fans or anything else. And I just look forward to the draw. So we're going to have the draw, essentially, Johnny, at the Kennedy Center. And by that time, it'll be in even better shape. We're working on it. It's about a year project to make it. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. You see the way this is looking? Look, nice. I can't tell you how much that gold costs. A lot of money. There's nothing like gold, and there's nothing like solid gold, but this beautiful office needed it. It had to be representative. When we took it over, it was dirty, not clean. I immediately changed the chair and had this beautiful desk renovated, brought out by the White House. People that do this, they did a great job to send it out. We have a craftsman who's great. But this was not appropriate for the Oval Office when I took over. And now, you look at all those paintings you're allowed to turn back. All of these are great presidents, and they were all in the vaults. They were in vaults for some cases much more than 100 years, and now they're proudly hanging on the Oval Office wall. So they can't imagine anybody changing it. But they were buried in vaults for over 100 years, many of them. So it's very exciting. People come in, they really love it. They love what we're doing here. They love what we're doing in D.C., and they love what we're doing, most importantly, in the country, in the world. I'd like to ask Johnny to say a few words. He's the head of the whole thing. He's been there for a long time, probably the most respected man in sports. He's amazing, actually. Works very hard, and he's got the biggest event in the world coming right here to the United States. We did a little for Canada, we did a little for Mexico. We thought, see, I'm a good citizen. I said, let them have a little piece. So we gave a little to Canada, see how nice I am? And we gave a little bit to Mexico. And Johnny, please say a few words.
Thank you, President. Great honor for me to be here with you today, President.
Hold on, Susanna, what's wrong with Dollar Tree decorations, man? Listen, I got Dollar Tree decorations at the crib, man, at the regular studio, man. When I put on a politician plug outfit, some of that shit, some Dollar Tree decorations. I have upgraded in a little bit, but man, listen, I remember when we had the Dollar Tree flag up there, man. Chill out, y'all. I still got the little Dollar Tree flag that be hanging from my laptop.
President, Excellencies, fantastic to announce what you said, which is the final draw of the FIFA World Cup on the 5th of December here in the capital, in the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. at 12 noon sharp. It will be broadcast live all over the world. 1 billion viewers will watch it, and will determine, of course, the match schedule, which 48 participating teams will play. You said it, 104 matches in 1 month, 104 Super Bowls. It's not just the biggest, the greatest event, not just a sports event, it's a social event as well, with a lot of emotion. We are uniting the world, Mr. President, uniting the world here in America. And we are very proud of that. And those teams, those national teams who will come here to participate in this draw with their coaches, with their presidents, they will all be proud to be part of writing this history. And that's why we brought as well this, which is the winner's trophy. It is the trophy that the winner of the FIFA World Cup wins. Only the FIFA presidents of countries, and then those who win can touch it, because it's for winners only. And since you are a winner, of course, you can as well touch it. It's pretty heavy. Yeah. It's the winner trophy. The last one who lifted that is Lionel Messi of Argentina. And here it is in the Oval Office in the White House.
Can I keep it?
What do you? Well, you can. We're not giving it back.
We're not giving it back. That's seriously.
It fits well.
That goes very well on the wall right over there. We'll put it right below the angels.
He said that because you remember that picture Corey will something in that video of Putin keeping the Super Bowl ring from Roger Kraft. Now you hear Trump trying to keep this FIFA World Cup thing. That's kind of crazy, man. Trump funny, man. Trump a funny dude for that.
That's beautiful. Yeah,
until we have to give it to the next winner.
That's fine. That's a beautiful piece of gold, I will say. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So 6 billion viewers for the World Cup, 6 million coming to the matches, 30 billion economic impact, 185,000 jobs. This will be absolutely fantastic. The biggest event ever, and everything will start here in Washington, D.C. at the Kennedy Center, or Trump Kennedy Center. We'll see that how it will be called on the 5th of September at noon sharp. 5th of December, noon sharp. Then, if I may...
Will they be doing most of the draws, all of the draws at the Kennedy? Well, how are you going to do that?
Yes, we'll do that at the Kennedy Center. We'll do all the other meetings around it with the coaches, with the broadcasters, with the sponsors, everything at the Kennedy Center. The whole World Cup starts, and everyone will be happy because everyone has qualified for the World Cup, and they didn't yet play a game, so they didn't lose yet the game. So they all think they can become world champions, right?
They'll all be happy.
Exactly. Now,
by the way, an example.
How many of y'all watched the World Cup, man? What it do, Stein Sizzle the Great? What's up, Christine? I see you here, Christine. How many of y'all watched the World Cup? Put yes or no in the chat if you watched the World Cup. We are about 35 subscribers away from the next sub goal. Tinky, I hope you're having a good night tonight, Tinky. Welcome in, Tinky. Lala got the plain lays. You know, you grab you a seat anywhere. We'll have some more refreshments coming. I think we're going to do popcorn tonight. We'll probably do popcorn. I know y'all like the little special stuff. We got some caramel drizzle, little chocolate drizzle, salt, butter, all of that stuff. We're going to do popcorn and, you know, kick it tonight, you know. So you just get you a seat, Tinky. Double tap the screen, shut a live out.
We had a week ago when everybody was being killed and mugged and everything else, despite the phony numbers that were given out, that it was getting better. Brian, do you believe it was getting better or getting worse?
Oh, the crime is getting worse. I mean, I was wrong.
How did the other guy come out?
He came out with like a red case.
Yeah.
Robert 1, Brian 0.
No, but can you imagine you do this and then you start hearing that they had a 20-year reduction of crime. It's worse. It was worse.
Wow, they said my phone too high.
Ever imagined possible. And I guarantee you, he wouldn't be here if those numbers continue.
How long,
now we have total safety. We have total security. And for the border, in 3 months, 0 people. These are done by liberal people that do these charts. 0 people came through our border in the last 90 days. Can you believe it? 0. Last year we had millions of people coming in. And they came in from the wrong locations. They came in a lot of people that shouldn't be here. So now when we have this event in December, it's going to be very safe. Johnny, you can walk down the street with your beautiful wife.
Yeah.
You can take her to dinner if you can get a reservation, which I doubt.
They're all full, the restaurants.
I know. They're all full. I heard that too. The restaurants aren't good. The restaurants, since we are doing this, are doing great. And many new restaurants are going to open because, as you know, many closed. Many restaurants closed because the crime was so bad. This will be one of the safest places anywhere on earth. So, you know, I really am honored that the National Guard has done such an incredible job working with the police. And we haven't had to bring in the regular military, which we're willing to do. We have to. And after we do this, we'll go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one. But they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago. Please. I did great with the black vote, as you know, and they want something to happen. So I think Chicago will be our next, and then we'll help with New York, and we're going to help with... And I think a lot of these people that you see on television, they are, including the people in this audience, they'll say bad things about me, and then they'll say, thank God he's here. Because half of them got mugged, and they don't want to get mugged again. But they're, you know, they work for stupid people at a radical left, and they're made to do things and say things that they don't want to be saying. But the people right here are all happy because you're not going to be mugged in Washington, D.C. anymore. I just want to say Johnny's been my friend for a long time. He's an incredible guy, and we will lay out the red carpet. Andrew, you're going to be fantastic. Rick is going to be everything Rick ever touched has always worked out, and he's working with me on the Kennedy Center. And his very good friend was an actor on Broadway for 5 years, right? And I assume he's helping us a little bit, right?
Yes.
And Andrew, you're all excited about it?
Absolutely.
Would you like to say something?
This is a great opportunity, Mr. President, to show off the first 250 years of the United States of America, the greatness and the hope and promise of the next 250 years when you think this World Cup is going to be over our 250th birthday. Mr. President, your leadership, obviously, with FIFA leading the way, this is the largest sporting event in the history of the world under the Trump administration. So I'm very excited.
I just want to say one thing. Andrew Giuliani, so as far...
Thank you, Big Niche, for the floating jewels. Double tap the screen, shut a live out. My phone was overheating on my laptop, chat. My phone was overheating, so I had to put it on my gimbal. I'm sorry for the cut out of the audio, the video. But thank you, Big Niche, for the $10, for the 10 jewels. Put some flames in the chat for Big Niche and that donation. Double tap the screen, shut the live out. We are 32 subscribers away from the next sub goal. We trying to hit 30K tonight, man. Y'all want to hit 30K with me tonight, man? What's up? Y'all gonna hit 30K with me tonight? Jenny, I see you in here. What it do? Verna, I see you in here, man. If it's your first time in my live stream, press 2 and I will give you a shout out.
Father is Rudy, the greatest mayor in the history of New York, I think by far. He took a ravaged city, a city that was really under siege. Probably most people thought it was going to survive. He turned it around. He was a great, great mayor. And then they treated him very, very unfairly. You go back and tell your father all of the things that have come out over the last couple of months through Tulsi and through all of the people, Cash, everybody. They've proven your father 100% right. His father was treated so unfairly. Your father has been 100% corrected. Tell him we all love him, okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
It's amazing. What he had to go through was very, very unfair. Nasty. These are bad people. Mr. Vice President, would you like to say something?
Well, sure, Mr. President. Thank you, and thanks, Johnny, for being here. We're very thrilled about the World Cup. Just to echo something the President said about crime in Washington, D.C., this is the national capital of the greatest nation in the world, and we had murder rates just a few weeks ago that rivaled some of the worst third-world cities anywhere, even in very, very poor regions of the world. Why did we accept that? Why did we allow it to happen? We allowed it to happen because we had broken leadership in Washington, D.C., and unfortunately sitting behind the Resolute desk. What we have shown in just under 2 weeks of taking law enforcement seriously is that the American people can have their streets back if their leadership is willing to put in the time and the resources. Mr. President, you've shown in Washington, D.C. that we can have safe streets again. We've just got to have the political willpower to focus on the bad guys and to give the American people back their communities. We are focused on doing that thanks to the President's leadership.
Thank you. And that's a real...
Hey, we got to get the likes up, chat. Double tapping the screen is how you like the video. We do need to get the likes up. They say we're not even at 50 likes yet, man. Let's get the 50 likes right quick. Double tap the screen for me. If you're watching on your phone, I got the analytics. I know you laid in the bed watching your phone. It's 10:15 on the East Coast. It's 9:15 Central Time, man. What's up?
Really very small percentage. It's 2%, 3%, but that 2% and 3% wreaks just havoc throughout a community. People are petrified, and I notice a couple of the women in the back are shaking their head, yes, yes, yes. I won't report who you are because you'll end up losing your jobs, but it's true. It's amazing. And the police, and you look at the D.C. National Guard, I saw pictures of them last night getting off vans and all, and I saw some bad ones running, but they're not running so much anymore. They're not there. They're just not even... They're not even trying. You're totally safe. Now, there'll be something happening sometime. I don't know. Maybe it won't be for a long time. But this was every night we'd get reports of people being mugged and kidnapped. There's one woman on television last night. She had a badly busted up nose. And she said, well, I like our streets the way they used to be. And she thinks it's going to happen like by doing nothing. And they said, what happened to your nose? She got slugged by a guy walking down the street, slugged. Her nose will never be the same, I guarantee you, unless it takes a pretty good turn. She wasn't really for us. She sort of said, well, maybe something has to happen. Before this happened to me, she got whacked. And I don't think she'll ever be the same. She almost became, she was a half a Trump fan, a woman that would have never been a Trump fan, but she was hit hard. It's not going to happen anymore. Not going to happen anymore. But then we're going to beautify the city, too. That's where I was today at Kennedy Center, and we're going to beautify the city like it has. And we're working with Clark Construction, the biggest construction company in Chicago, and Washington. And the head of Clark is great. He's all over the world, actually, but Washington, I would say, is their home. That's where they do the best work, the biggest work, and they've been doing a fantastic job. So you're going to have a fantastic, clean, beautiful place. It's going to be better than it ever was before. Literally better than it ever was before. We'll get it done very quickly. And I want to thank Clark because they're doing a lot.
Carlos, you see the dedication. Plug on his way out still had to do a lot. You see the dedication, Carlos, and they don't even want to double tap the screen for me or subscribe to the channel, man. I told y'all earlier I wanted to watch this live with y'all, but my laptop wasn't charging, so I said, you know what, I'm coming back tonight, man. We go live every single night over talking politics, entertainment, and current events, man. I'm in the mobile studio for y'all tonight, man. The mobile studio. Can we get some flames in the chat for the dedication of Plug in the mobile studio, man? Like, let's be real. No production crew, mobile studio. Let's be real.
A lot of work in a lot of different locations, but they've been fantastic for getting us the right contractors and the people that can really do the job right. And Johnny, did you want to say something?
Yes, one more thing, because as you rightly say, you know, with security and beautifying cities and the whole country, we want people to come and enjoy and have fun. And that's why this is not just the most iconic trophy in the world of sport, but we start on the 10th of September the sale of tickets for the FIFA World Cup. And we have the first ticket here for the final. For you. It's, of course, row 1, seat 1. It's ticket number 45, 47. And it's for the final in New York, New Jersey. And so you have your ticket already for the
okay,
final.
Trump.
All the others, 10th of September, start getting your tickets.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
6.5, 7 million tickets. Fans will enjoy the security here. Will be fantastic.
You're going to do record business, I think.
100%.
Christy, would you like to say something?
Yeah, Mr. President, millions of people will come to this country, and we'll make sure they get their travel documents, their visas, that they want to come here and spend their money and enjoy this sporting event. It'll be the largest event in the world. And sir, you're reminding me of something that my dad used to say all the time when I was growing up. He would say, Christy, you...
Oh yeah, Chad, didn't they say they're adding like an extra $250 on the visas? So these people that did that go into effect yet already, the extra $250? Because if that's finna go into effect, then they expecting 6 million people to come. That's gonna be some revenue. I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna be some damn revenue.
To look like you respect yourself before anybody's gonna respect you. And in this country, when people look at our streets, when they look at our capital, you're bringing respect back to this city. And people will respect our country more because it's safe.
Chris, you said, am I hating on your president again? I don't hate Trump. I don't know why y'all think I hate Trump. I call Trump out on his shit sometimes, and I call out the left on they shit sometimes. I call out everybody on they shit. People call me out on my shit. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. The good, the bad, and ugly. When Trump do some good shit, I'm first in line congratulating. He just said the stock's up 1,000%. I asked everybody how their portfolios looking. Is they having a fruitful, beginning of the school year? They said yes. Congratulated them on it. Like, so, you know what I mean? I just straight up.
It's clean, it's beautiful, and what you're doing is transforming this nation by making sure that our laws are upheld, and millions of people are going to come and be able to enjoy it next year, and I'm excited about that. Thank you for doing that.
Well, our country is respected again. And a year ago, we had a dead country. I'm telling you, it was a dead country. It was a country that had lost its way. It was a country that was going to fail. Look, even today, where they say $4 trillion in reductions of deficits, and this was totally unexpected. They didn't expect it. I mean, I don't know where they've been, the people that do this stuff, but it's terrible. I want to thank Christy for another reason. I said to her 2 weeks ago, I said, Christy, do me a favor. I built hundreds of miles of wall. I built the same wall that the Border Patrol asked me to build. It wasn't my first choice. I wanted to do concrete plank and everything nice. You wouldn't have been able to see.
Oh, I did see Christy Nome out there, and they were talking about painting the border wall black. They want to paint the entire border wall black to attract more heat, to make it hotter for people and harder for people to climb the wall. So they are talking about painting the border wall black. Is that a W, chat? Is painting the border wall black a W or an L, chat? W's or L's in the chat?
So I had Border Patrol in, and they tested everything else. And we gave them steel wall, high-grade steel, very hard to cut. And we gave inside that is 9,000-pound concrete, which is a very tough concrete. Inside that is rebar, a big fat piece of rebar, So you have all different materials that are very hard to cut. You need different instruments to cut each one. And I said, Kristen, we got to get a coat of paint on it. And I didn't know she was listening. But I said, we got to get a coat of paint, and it should be black. Because
that's what he
makes
told
the
me
steel
about.
very hot. It's untouchable. You could fry an egg on it. And if you got a good black, flat paint, it would look beautiful. It will preserve it from rust. And that was it. And I gave it to her along with 30 other things, and she's done such a good job on the border.
I'm sure they're going to put some damn gloves on, man, some oven mittens or something, some little, man, I ain't going to lie. I think what they did was, I seen those suction cup things. Have y'all seen those little things where people are scaling buildings with them, like they like big suction cups that they stick to the wall? It's like, and then man, I don't know, I seen it, man. Dude was scaling a whole damn building with it, man. So I don't know, man, if that suction cup might, the black might melt the suction cup.
With Tom Holman and the group. Tom Holman's a fantastic guy, what the job he does and the way they work together. So I turned on last night and I see Christie's painting the wall. And it looked beautiful, by the way, when that paint went over.
And it's hot.
It's hot. It's hot. If it's white, it's not hot. If it's black, it's going to be very hard to climb that sucker. It's not going to be easy. But it's black and a high quality black. You know, it really looked good.
Yeah, we got
Is
the
that
paint
going to be a
you told
two-coat
us.
job or one
No,
coat?
just one coat.
One coat.
We used the paint you told me to buy.
Yep. The two-coat will take place in 3 years from now. We'll do the second coat. But it looks beautiful. But thank you very much. I didn't know you were listening to that, because we talked about 7 different subjects. And all of a sudden I see you're out there painting with a lot of painters and everything else. But it was a beautiful thing to say. Would you like to say something? You've been such a big part of this. Please.
Well, Mr. President, we're delighted to be here today for this announcement, but we're also looking forward to having it at the final.
Oh, yes.
July 19th
Yes. No, we'll
in
be
New York.
We're going to be there. A lot of people are going to be there.
I love it.
I'd like to thank you all. Do you have any questions on FIFA, first of all?
It's going to be a big event at the Kennedy Center. Do you intend to take part in it? Will you have a part to play on this opportunity?
I may play. I mean, I see the money that these soccer players, we call it soccer, but I see the money that these soccer players are making. I may try and play. I'm a very good athlete. My son is a very good athlete, and he's a good soccer player. He's on the tall side for soccer. He's 6'9". That's pretty tall, but
That's pretty
it's
cool.
on the tall side. It's on the tall side, but he's good. But no, I may put on shorts. I look extremely good in shorts and join the play. No, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be good.
Many foreigners who want to come to attend the event are concerned about the visa situation. Can you reassure them?
Yeah, they're going to have a
Monks breaking their vow of silence. What you mean, monks breaking? What they break their vow of silence for? What did the monks break their vow of silence for? Y'all double tap the screen, shut a live out. We are 25 subs away from the next sub goal. But what did the monks break their silence for? Oh yeah, he said he gonna go back and paint that sucker in 3 years.
very easy time getting in. Certain countries are going to be very, very easy, and other countries are going to be obviously a little bit more difficult. Would you like to explain that, Chris?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a process set up that we'll be implementing on getting visas approved. Everybody will be thoroughly vetted, but they'll be welcome to this country. It'll happen quickly, and we're excited for them to come. So I would hope that around the world people know that the United States is excited to bring their family here to enjoy this event.
America welcomes the world.
Yes.
And I can really, from the collaboration that we have, testify for that, absolutely.
And I just sent a picture from somebody that wants to be there very badly. He's been very respectful of me and of our country, but not so respectful of others. But he'll, I'm going to sign this for him, but I was sent one, and I thought you would like to see it. That's a man named Vladimir Putin, who I believe will be coming, depending on what happens. He may be coming, and he may not, depending on what happens. We have a lot of things happening over the next couple of weeks. But I thought it was a nice picture of him. Okay of me, but nice of him. So that was very nice that it was sent to me. Okay? Mr. President,
On
yes.
that subject, have you talked to Vladimir Putin about the fact that yesterday a big U.S. factory was hit in a Russian airstrike in Ukraine? What's your reaction to
I
that?
told him I'm not happy about it. And I'm not happy about anything having to do with that war. I said I settled 7 wars, and actually if you think about pre-wars, add 3 more, so it would be 10. I thought this would be in the middle of the pack in terms of difficulty. You know, I'm not happy about anything about that war. Nothing. Not happy at all. We'll see what happens. I think over the next 2 weeks we're going to find out which way it's going to go. And I better be very happy.
I had a very good call with Prime Minister Carney of Canada yesterday morning.
Yes.
Canada is taking away some retaliatory tariffs.
He's removing his tariffs, yeah.
Exactly.
He's removing his retaliatory tariffs, which I thought was nice. And we're going to have another call soon. Okay. Yeah, we had a very good call.
You're getting closer towards
well, I like them.
trade?
I like them. You know, look, I'm fighting for the United States. Canada and Mexico take a lot of our business over the years, over 25, 30 years, especially during the Biden years. They took a lot of our business, and it's basically all coming back into the United States now. Well, hot as a pistol, and it's coming back in. Because of tariffs and the incentives we give, it's coming back. And it's impossible, I think, for another country to stop it. And we are working on something. We want to be very good to Canada. I like Carney a lot. I think he's a good person. And we had a very good talk yesterday. So I think it'll be good.
Mr. President, I have a question about the search of Ambassador Bolton's home. The Vice President was just in an interview saying that it's about classified documents, but that there's also broad concern about him. What are the concerns?
Well, I haven't spoken to Pam in the group yet, but I will be. I saw that just like everybody else. I try and stay out of that stuff. I'm allowed to be, and I'm chief law enforcement officer, believe it or not. You know, I don't like to go around saying that, but I am in this position. But I purposely don't want to really get involved in it. I'm not a fan of John Bolton. I thought he was a sleazebag, actually. And he suffers major Trump derangement syndrome, but so do a lot of people, and they're not being affected by anything we do. I don't know anything about it. I just saw that. I'll find out about it. But if you believe the news, which I do, I guess his house was raided today, but my house was raided also, Paul Mar-a-Lago. They went through everything they could, including my young son's room and my wife's area. They went through her drawers, as the expression goes. They went through everything you can imagine. And when she came back, she said, she's very neat, you know, she's meticulous, and she looked and she said, whoa, this wasn't the way that she had it. So, you know, so I know the feeling. It's not a good feeling. Thank you.
Mr. President, how long do you give Putin?
A couple of weeks. We're going to figure it out.
Do you think you'll have to intervene at some point?
Look, it takes 2 to tango. You understand that. I wanted to have a meeting with those 2. I could have been at the meeting, but a lot of people think that nothing's going to come out of that meeting. You have to be there. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But we're going to see. In the meantime, people continue to die. But I solved 7 of them where they were in wars for 31, 35, and 37
What's up,
years.
Doris?
We had 3 of them that were for more than 30 years, Johnny, and I got them solved. And we solved one that could have been a nuclear war with India and Pakistan. I was getting ready to be a nuclear war. I solved them all. And this one, I thought we would have had it done by now.
Sometimes I'll be forgetting that I be on the internet, bro. And some of y'all ass be weird in here. Some of y'all ass be weird. This motherfucker. So y'all ain't looking all at my reflection and shit. That motherfucker. They're better, so y'all ass ain't all of my damn reflection, man. Y'all be doing too damn much, man.
No, but it's more different. There's a lot of anger, a lot of hatred. There's a tremendous amount of hatred. Yeah.
Y'all ass be doing too much, man.
In 2 weeks we'll know which way I'm going. Because I'm going to go one way or the other. And they'll learn which way I'm going.
Mr. President, if I got 2 questions for you. One on FIFA, the other one on DC. Can you talk about the economic impact that FIFA will have in these cities, and what's your message to the mayors to get their cities prepared, not only the beautification process, but also the safety aspect?
Well, Los Angeles is an example. You know, it's poorly run. We have a mayor there that can't even get permits to the people that lost their houses. Lee Zeldin got every permit. The hardest permit is the federal permit. Within 20 days, every single permit was there for the people to build their houses. But people are writing us and they're saying they won't give us. The mayor is incompetent. The governor is incompetent. You know, Gavin. I know Gavin very well. He's an incompetent guy with a good line of bullshit. and he doesn't get the job done. And frankly,
he called Gavin an incompetent guy. A lot of bullshit, doesn't get the job done. Press 1 if you think that Gavin is an incompetent guy, man. Press 1 if you think Gavin's incompetent. Press 2 if you don't.
Those people want to build their houses. It's terrible. They could have been built. Some of them could have been built already. But think of it, the federal government that has the most complex part, it's the most complex environmental thing to do. We got it, everybody had it within 30 days. And they're not even close to getting their permits. And now they're talking about taking some of those sites and building low-income housing on them. These are high-end neighborhoods. And I'm all for low-income housing. I built a lot of low-income housing. I know all about 236. I know every program that there is in the government. I used every one of them. I know more about low-income housing than probably almost anybody. And it's great. It's fine. It's wonderful. But you don't build it in Pacific Palisades. You don't build it there. And you don't build it in the other areas that burned down. So they're talking about putting up low-income housing. And you talk about riots. They're going to have riots if that happens because you're taking the people's property away. They want to build their houses and they're unable to get permits from the mayor and from the governor. And that's a terrible thing. But, and let me tell you, if I didn't send in the troops in Los Angeles, Johnny wouldn't be in Los Angeles. You wouldn't be having your World Cup there. I sent in the troops and we kept it. And even the police commissioner, the sheriff and the police commissioner, they all said the same thing. They said, we could have never handled what was happening. You saw that, you were there. He said we could have never handled what, and then you hear Gavin Newsome, after it's all quelled, you hear Newsome get up and said, we could have done this for ourselves now if they couldn't have. And if they could have, I wouldn't have taken the chance.
Okay, my second question is on crime prevention. Would you be open to...
Did y'all see that Jalen Hurts turned down that housing, the corporation that was going in buying all the low income housing in Philly? They offered him $10 million to do like a sponsorship deal with him, and he turned them down. Shout out to Jalen Hurts for that.
Expanding the national concealed carry to apply to DC like it does in other states like Texas.
Yeah. Well, they have it in some states, and they feel strongly about it. As you know, I'm in favor of it. People have to protect themselves. I'm a Second Amendment person, very simply. People have to be able to protect themselves.
Real talk, Trump. Hell yeah, Trump.
Down the street, a guy comes up and slugs you. He's got a pistol in his hand.
Blow his ass down, straight up, man. Pro Second Amendment, man. I'm glad to hear Trump say that. Now, see, I tell y'all, when Trump say good shit, I give him his flowers. Pro Second Amendment, hell yeah, Trump. Hey, you got to be able to protect your family. You got to be able to protect your children, your spouse. You got to be able to protect your property. You got to be able to protect yourself. Straight up.
You can be tough. You can be in great shape. You can be a powerful person. Or you can be a guy that weighs 100 pounds with a gun in your hand. And I'll bet on the guy with the gun 100% of the time, right? And so you need protection. So I'm a Second Amendment person all the way. Yeah, please.
President Trump said this morning that you'll work with Congress to get $2 billion to help clean up DC. Have you had any conversations with Mike Johnson and John Thune about where they're going to get that money from?
Which money?
You said this morning you're going to get $2 billion from Congress to help clean up DC.
Yeah, I've spoken to Mike Johnson. I've spoken to John Thune, the Senate House, and I think it's going to be very easy to get. It's going to be not a lot of money. I wouldn't even know where to spend the number that you mentioned, but it's going to be money to beautify the city. Yeah, they're ready. Everybody wants to save.
Said they finna put $2 billion into beautifying DC. $2 billion.
DC. In one way, it's the easiest. The violence was more than any other city in the country, actually, by far. It may have been more than any other city in the world, if you could think. We looked at some of the worst cities in the world. It was worse, and that's why it angers me to see the mayor saying about how they have it on the slide. Not on the slide. It was worse than ever. Yeah, we have no problem getting that money. That money will come out of Congress. I think it'll be even bipartisan. I mean, I would imagine Democrats would vote for that one.
Is the plan to get it before the September 30 spending deadline?
Well, I don't know if there is a deadline, because if I declare a national emergency, which this was, that ends the deadline. So, I mean, I keep seeing about a 30-day deadline, of which we have 22 days left or something. But if I think we're in...
Chris, you got Trump fucked up. If you think Trump finna put $2 billion of his own money to beautify D.C., that's not gonna happen, Chris. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. I understand you love Trump, Chris, and that is the president. That's our president. But he's not finna take $2 billion of his own money and pour it into making D.C. beautiful. He's just not gonna.
Great shape here, that's one thing. But if I don't, I'm gonna just say it's a national emergency. And if I have a national emergency, I can keep the troops there as long as I want. If people are not going to want to have the troops in 30 days, you know, it's one thing to get them out. It's another thing to keep them out for a long period of time. You've got to train.
Chris, show me where Trump put $2 billion in his own money into making D.C. beautiful. I will wait on that. We'll stop the damn show and we'll bring you up and show me. Now listen, I don't got no money. I ain't put a damn dollar into beautifying D.C. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. But I know damn well he's not putting in. Yeah, he don't take payments for his service, of course, but that's not $2 billion to beautify D.C. $400,000 is what? $400,000 is how much you get paid, right? He gave the $400,000 up, but he done made a whole lot of money. Trump bought all these bonds since January. Trump been buying the hell out of bonds. He been buying the hell out of shit. His net worth is skyrocketed since he came in office. I don't have a problem with it. A lot of people do have a problem with it. Me personally, I don't. But I'm not gonna say that he's gonna put $2 billion out of his personal net worth into making DC look better, the beautification of DC. No, hell no. $400,000 is a big jump from $2 billion. $400,000 and $2 billion is like, this shit's crazy.
Train people, you can't do this, you can't bop people over the head. And a lot of those people are in courts right now, going to court. They're going to go to jail for a long time. So that's going to take more than 30 days. But if I have to, I'll declare a national emergency, which I don't think I'll have to do. Yeah.
Mr. President, you said in 2 weeks you'll know whether you go.
Yeah, I think I'll know the attitude of Russia and, frankly, of Ukraine. It takes two.
What are the 2 ways you could know at the end of 2 weeks then?
Well, then I'm going to make a decision as to what we do. And it's going to be a very important decision. And that's whether or not it's massive sanctions or massive tariffs or both. Or do we do nothing and say it's your fight? Look, I would have never been in this war if I were president. You would have had this war. It was never going to happen. This was caused by stupid people that fought. And you know, people say, well, how do we know? Because for 4 years, it was never even a subject. And Vladimir knew, and you see his picture right here. It was nice that he sent, but Vladimir knew very strongly we wouldn't have stood for it. It wouldn't have happened. 100% wouldn't have happened, but it did happen. And now they're losing from 5 to 7 young kids. Think of it, you're a parent and your son is leaving. He's Russian or he's Ukrainian. And he's leaving and they're waving goodbye. Nice, beautiful kid. Nice crew cut, all set. He wants to be a soldier. And because their first week he has his head blown off. And he's no different than you people, me. And it doesn't matter where. I mean, I solved the problem in the Congo that was vicious. Rwanda and the Congo, the Republic of the Congo. And they were fighting for 31 years. And it was machetes. People were getting their heads chopped off. That was going on for 31 years. I got it solved. You saw it. They came to the White House and we signed an agreement. It was amazing. People can't believe we got it done. I love to stop killing. I really do. People thought it would be just the opposite. Hillary Clinton said, oh, he'll get us into a war. No, I'm getting everybody else out of wars.
Are you saying there's a real possibility then that you do nothing if Putin doesn't come to the table for a ceasefire?
I'll see whose fault it is. If there are reasons why, I'll understand that. I know exactly what I'm doing. We're going to see whether or not they have a meeting. That'll be interesting to see. And if they don't, why didn't they have a meeting? Because I told them to have a meeting. But I'll know in 2 weeks what I'm going to do. I have pretty good ideas.
Your Justice Department is also sending some of the Epstein files over to the House Oversight Committee today. Are you in support of them releasing all of them?
Keeping it open.
If they wanted to release,
people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that it could be mentioned in those files that don't deserve to be. People, because he knew everybody in Palm Beach. I don't know anything about that, but I have said to Pam and everybody else, give them everything you can give them, because it's a Democrat hoax. It's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax. So we had the greatest 6 months, 7 months in the history of the presidency, and the Democrats don't know what to do, so they keep bringing up that stuff. But it affected them. Bill Clinton was on his plane and went to the island supposedly 28 times. I don't want to bring that up, frankly. You have Larry, whatever his name is, Summers.
Trump just threw Bill Clinton all the way under the damn bus, didn't he, Chad? Woo!
The head of Harvard, who was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. Nobody ever talks about that. But I don't want to hurt Larry Summers. But he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. No, this is a Democratic hoax to try and get the significance of what we've done over the past 7 months. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They say it's number one in history.
I don't want to hurt Larry Summers. But shit, they was best friends, you know. Like, I don't want to hurt you, Larry Summers, but you know what? Fuck it. She asked me the question. You was best friends with Epstein, so you know what? I'm gonna put your name in this shit too.
What we've done, including stopping 7 wars. Just include that. And now you look at the stock market today. It's way up to start off with from where I took it. And this market was going to crash. If Joe Biden or Kamala were president, this market, we would have had a crash like in 1929. You're not going to have that. It's only a question of how high is it going to go. You know, I had the strongest economy in the history of our country. And despite COVID, we had the strongest economy in the history of our country. And we're going to blow it away this time. I was always good at making a lot of money. And whether it was for myself or whether it's, I like doing it this way better. I like making it for the country. Our country's been ripped off by friend and foe, nations all over the world ripped off. And the friends have been much worse than the foes for the most part. And they're not ripping us off. We just signed a deal with the European Union. They're paying us essentially $950 billion, like a signing fee. They're going to buy $750 billion worth of energy. They weren't buying much of our energy there. And they're very smart in doing it. And as you know, Ursula was here a couple of days ago having to do with the people, the leaders that we had a great, people said they've never seen anything like it. Well, we had the leaders of Europe right here in the Oval Office. And she's so happy that she has an agreement. But people aren't ripping us anymore. We're run by, this country is run by smart people now.
Two questions. One is about Intel. Remember, of course, considering
All right,
Chair. 10%? Yeah, I met a man who was a very nice man.
I got a black tea
called
now.
for his removal because I saw something by a man named Tom Cotton, a senator from Arkansas. He's a great guy, friend of mine, supporter of mine, big supporter. I'm a supporter of his too. And he wrote a pretty nasty story about the head of Intel. And I said, well, if that's right, he should resign. And he came in, he saw me, we talked for a while. I liked him a lot. I thought he was very good. I thought he was somewhat a victim, but you know, nobody's a total victim, I guess. And I said, you know what? I think the United States should be given 10% of Intel. And he said, I would consider that. I said, well, I'd like you to do that because Intel's been left behind, as you know, compared to
what's up, AP?
Jensen and some of our friends, NVIDIA, and some of the people in, because Intel should have.
All right, y'all. Let's get to the next question, man.
Hey, because anybody else, I have it in real estate where I'll have a deal with somebody and I'll have them restrictive covenant. Then they'll come back and they'll say, I'd love to be able to build over here, but I'm not allowed to because you have me covered, you have me restricted. I say, I'll let you build over there, but pay me a lot of money. No different. But the country never did it because the country was run by foolish people.
You said Chicago might be next. Are you making, have there been concrete steps that the administration is taking to do that? Or what other cities?
I haven't spoken to him. He's grossly incompetent. I haven't spoken to him. No. When we're ready, we'll go in and we'll straighten out of Chicago, just like we did D.C. Chicago is very dangerous, great place. I built great stuff there. I have the most beautiful building in Chicago, I think. But I hate to see what's happened to Chicago. Chicago was our greatest city, actually. Bob Tisch, a great friend of mine, passed away. He used to own the Giants, very successful Lowe's. He said Chicago, I think they had their main...
Thank you, Lala, for the floating heart, Lala. Thank you for the floating heart, Lala. Y'all get Lala some flames on that floating heart. Thank you again, Lala.
Chicago. He said Chicago and San Francisco, the two greatest cities in the world. Now you look at what the Democrats have done to San Francisco. They've destroyed it. I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building in San Francisco. And, you know, it's just different. We can clean that up, too. We'll clean that one up, too. You know, if everything works out, and we've already had calls from other cities, quiet calls from Democrats. We'd love you to come here, because they've lost control of themselves. I'm not going to say because I don't want them to lose their elections. But we've had calls from Democrats and calls from people generally. We'd love you to come here, because we'll straighten out the problem.
In Israel, families of hostages are opposed to the reoccupying of Gaza. Why is the U.S. still...
Well, not all of them. And you have to understand, I'm the one that got all of the hostages out. You got a lot of people out. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be out. I worked with Bibi and I worked with Steve Witkoff. But if it wasn't for me, you would have all these hostages would most likely be dead right now, every one of them. So they all come up here. They all come in groups of 10, 12, 13, and many of them. And I've gotten to know a lot of them. They're great people. What they had to go through is incredible. But so now they have 20, but the 20 is actually probably not 20 because a couple maybe aren't around any longer. It's a terrible thing. No, I don't like anymore. I said, you know, when you get down to 20, they're not going to make deals anymore. And they didn't. And then I put out a statement, as you know, there was a tough statement, go in and get them. And they said, we'll give you 10, we'll give you 10. I don't know what Israel's doing, but they were willing now immediately to give us another 10. The situation has to end. It's extortion and it has to end. And we'll see what happens. I actually think they're safer in many ways if you went in and you really went in fast and you did it. And people can't forget.
Hey, chat, we're 13 subs away from the next sub goal. Can we get 13 quick subscribers, man? Let's get 13 subs right quick. Double tap the screen, shut the live out. We are now 13 subs away from the next sub goal.
Remember that. I'm friendly with all groups. I won the Arab vote in Michigan. I did so great with the Arab vote, remember? I started off at 0. I ended up winning. I wouldn't say the candidate was the greatest, but I would have won against anybody. They're great people. But we have to do things properly. And, you know, I'm very proud to say I got the hostages out. You have hundreds of people that are living now because of me. And now we have that final little group of people. And Hamas knows that if they give them, it's probably the end of their lives. So it's not easy to get. And I know if you're a parent, you just don't care. I want my baby back. They want their babies back. They want their kids back. And I understand it. But I got them out and did a good job. And we're doing everything we can to get the hostages out. Thank you all very much. Yes?
So Jackson Jay Powell today said, suggested that they might cut interest rates, but they weren't going to see.
Well, we call him too late for a reason. He should have cut him a year ago. He's too late. You know, we have a stock market that's up 1,000 points today. I better be careful because I go out there and I see it's down 1,000, right? But it's up 1,000 points when I came in here. We have a country that the market's the hottest it's ever been. The country's better than it's ever been. We have a military that I rebuilt largely in my first term. We had a great, successful first term, but this is going to be even better. But we rebuilt it. We gave a lot of it away to Afghanistan, but relatively small compared to the overall. But I think it was the most embarrassing day and period in the history of our country that they allowed those 13 wonderful people, but it's really hundreds of people were killed. And they don't talk about the 48 that was so severely wounded with no legs, no arms, nobody ever mentions them except me. But that was the worst day and the most, it just showed how incompetent. Frankly, if that didn't happen, I really believe that you might not have had the problem with Russia. I think Putin was sitting there watching these stupid people running our country and said, this is a time to invade. It's, this is a time. And then Biden made the statement, well, he can do a small incursion. When he said that, it was off to the races, right? When he said He can do a small incursion. Remember that? I was surprised he knew the word.
Alright, chat. We finna move on to the next part of the show. We finna move on to the next clip, man. To the next part of the show. I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
We have a minion for a governor. It is insane to see the lack of morality. Should we be playing a game when it comes to...
So we know Gavin Newsome did win that redistricting fight, and a lot of people are upset about it. I think he signed it today or maybe yesterday. It was either today or yesterday that he signed it. So California has responded to Texas. Jasmine Crockett will be in a new district. They're saying she's probably going to get the 33rd district, or she might weigh her options on something else. But let's see, I believe this is Crockett and Newsome sitting down with each other, and we're going to get into it.
Something like democracy? Absolutely not.
This is Gavin Newsome.
She's been called a rising star. Donald Trump referred to her as the future of the Democratic Party. Couldn't think of someone better to talk about what's going on in Texas and the gerrymandering, what's going on in Washington, D.C. with the National Guard, than the one and only Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Thank you for
fair
doing this.
use.
I appreciate it, particularly
Absolutely. Of
at
course.
this remarkable time. So we'll jump right in, because I can't even imagine. You spent time in the Texas legislature.
Dang, why is
I was
mine?
watching last night a brief interview. One of the members of the legislature, Nicole Collier, was in the chambers. She's not walking out because she doesn't want to be assigned a member of law enforcement to watch every move. And
do y'all think this the next Democratic ticket? That somebody just said this the next Democratic ticket, man. Sunset. Do y'all think Crockett and Newsome will make a good ticket against Vance and we'll say Marco Rubio?
I couldn't even imagine that experience is like, but I couldn't imagine a better person to talk about it than you. Watching all of this from afar, the impacts indirect to democracy, the direct impacts to you.
Gavin, man, I understand you a politician, man. I know you out there in Cali. That might be what they do out there, man. But we down here in the South, man, you're going to have to take a power stance, man. All of that, the crossing of your legs and shit, man, we can't be doing that, Gavin, man. Come on, man. Come on, Gavin. I'm not feeling that shit, man. Let's be real, Gavin. You got to come on, Gavin, man. Come on, man. I don't know, bro. You got your legs all crossed and shit. I bet Jasmine legs not even crossed right now, Gavin. Let's be real.
Representative, watching your own district lines changing. Give us a sense of what you're feeling right now, what this moment means to you.
So I'm feeling overwhelmed. And if you are paying attention, you should also feel that way. This isn't about me as an individual. This is about our collective democracy. It's one of the reasons that I think the country has galvanized behind what California has decided to do, because this isn't just about Texas. It's not just about the representatives in Texas. It's about the people. And so when you look at the lengths that they will go to decimate our democracy, that is when people should really have their hair on fire. And I don't care what kind of state you live in.
You said at least Newsome isn't stoned, bro. He might fucking be out there in Cali while you bullshitting. He might be. I bet he'd like a nice scotch. Now, since we sitting here pointing out what people like to do, I bet your ass like a nice scotch your damn self.
And I personally don't care what your political affiliation is, because we are setting a dangerous precedent, one that could forever dismantle our democracy. So here we are as a Black woman civil rights attorney, and I'm looking at taking state actions against a duly elected Black woman to basically incarcerate her against her constitutional rights. And everybody is just kind of like, Texas gets to do whatever they want to do because we have a minion for a governor instead of a governor for the people of Texas. And so now, because he wants to do everything that he can to kiss the raggedy feet of Donald Trump, this is where we stand, to the extent that he is disrespecting Texans over and over and over, whether we're talking about the map or whether we're talking about the threats that were waged against these members and their family members, or whether we're talking about a woman, a black woman that decided that she wanted to be free in the year of 2025, and basically she had someone who decided that he wanted to act like she is on a plantation, and so therefore she had to sign documents if it was that she was to have some semblance of freedom.
Look, I appreciate how you just laid that out and with vivid and clear lines. I mean, a black woman has to have someone from a white governor. I mean, you can't. The racial components of this cannot be overstated. And as you say, people are kind of shrugging their shoulders, rolling their eyes. I mean, the fact that not everything is stopped in real time to sort of measure this moment. The fact that so much is being normalized in this country as we're watching democracy slip through our hands. I mean, what do we need to do to create the proverbial pattern interrupt? What do we need to do to wake people up to understand what's really at stake? What the hell is really going on, not just in Texas, increasingly across this country?
We'll have to collectively fight back. And I think that we have to take it back to elementary school, where everything legitimately was black or white. It was right versus wrong. We right now are having a moral, catastrophic, combustion, right? Like, it is insane to see the lack of morality. Like, this really isn't about whether or not you believe in, the Democratic platform or the Republican platform. This is truly about whether or not we believe that as Americans, that freedom should be real, that we should treat everyone as equals, that we should not diminish our democracy, because that is why we stand out and why we have been a beacon of hope around this entire world, not just in this country for people that are here. The reason that we've had so many immigrants that have always decided that they wanted to come to the United States is because historically we have been the land of the free and the land of opportunity. We are slowly just losing our standing on the national stage, whether we're looking at a president that is rolling out a red carpet for a war criminal, or whether or not we are looking at a governor that has decided that a woman would be stuck and could not leave because she had the audacity to think that her colleagues would engage in real debate and they would come back and they would fight for fair maps, not fair maps for her, but fair maps for the 30 million Texans whose voices deserve to be heard, considering the fact that we are a majority minority state, where 60% of the people that are there are people of color, yet every single day they are so happy to take in people of color day after day, to the extent that we ended up gaining 2 new seats in the last time that we did the census. We took those seats from other states that were growing, and those seats were taken because there were black and brown bodies that came into the state of Texas, yet they then minimized their voices. So yes, they want their bodies, but they absolutely do not want to hear from them, and that is wrong. And again, it is why we applaud California and your leadership, because you said not on our watch, 2 can play this game. Now, should we be playing a game when it comes to something like democracy? Absolutely not. But can we afford to take the high road as they continue to take away more and more rights, and we start to look more like a government that is run by Vladimir Putin than a government that is run by a respected and honorable president of the United States? No, we shouldn't stand idly by.
And so you don't buy the argument 2 wrongs don't make a right?
I don't. 2 wrongs are about to make it right in 2 seconds. That is for sure. And I appreciate the level of thoughtfulness that went into this, because I think at the core of who we are as Democrats, regardless of what others may say about us, we really want to do what's right. The question is usually whether or not we have the courage to push forward, even in the face of adversity, to get it done. And this is ugly, this is messy, that is for sure, but it is the right thing. If you're going to take away 5 voices in a state in which I have been engaged in litigation since 2021 over the current lines, because we have argued that these lines were terrible and illegal, and the state consistently argued for the last 4 years that they were racially neutral, that they were perfect and beautiful lines, And then all of a sudden they get a letter from the Attorney General of the United States. Imagine that. The Attorney General of the United States decides that instead of, say, building up the Civil Rights Division that she decided to tear down, the Attorney General of the United States that is under pressure to release the Epstein files that are within her control, she decides...
Hey, we're 8 subscribers away from the next sub goal. We go live every single night over here talking politics, entertainment, and current events. Let's knock out that 8 subs to get the 29,900, man. Let's knock out that 8 subs, man. Double tap the screen on your way in.
To prioritize going after Texas and telling Texas that they actually have not been race neutral, and they decide to act based upon her instruction. And we know that her instruction came directly from him. And so now we're looking at a situation in which no matter what happens, I can tell you that these maps are illegal. The question is, will we have these branches of government continue to fail us? Will we have a court that will strike this down in time and say, never mind, we're going to have to draw the maps? Because historically, when we've had all 3 branches working, that's what happens when one of the states does wrong. And there's no way to say that the state of Texas is doing right.
Bring up 2021 and your efforts in relation to the maps, but you also, for those that may not be familiar, you really made a name for yourself nationally the last time when you were in the legislature. I think it was 2021 when you guys did a similar quorum break, and that was on different issues but related to voting access and the like. I mean, how do you paint, what do you paint as a contrast or paint the picture? Is this part of the same narrative? Is this sort of the extended narrative from 2021? Is this represent something that's more dramatic from your perspective, or is this the same thread that's being pulled?
No, we absolutely tried to ring the alarms, and unfortunately, we collectively did not ring those alarms loud enough. When we left, we went to D.C. When we went to D.C., we asked a democratically controlled House, a democratically controlled Senate that had a Democrat in the White House to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. That particular bill would have replaced the current Voting Rights Act. It would have shored up everything that we lost in Shelby v. Holder, and we wouldn't be sitting on the edge of our seats wondering whether or not we would lose Section 2. So for anybody that's listening, Section 2 just says, basically, we want to go ahead and further codify what is in the Constitution as it relates to people of color being able to have representation. And so I have a Section 2 seat. What we know came out of Louisiana and Alabama for this last election was 2 Section 2 seats, because they looked at a state like Louisiana and said, hey, 30% of the population is African American, and y'all only gave them an opportunity to elect one lawmaker to the federal level, so they had to add one. Same thing happened in Alabama, so they had to add one. So both states now have 2 seats where African Americans are allowed to choose their representation. Well, what they are doing right now, they got rid of all of the issues around pre-clearance, which means that when states go through all of this craziness and they've had, say, a history of being racially discriminatory, such as Texas. Texas has been found to be racially intentionally discriminatory ever since the Voting Rights Act was passed, which is so wild for me to think of, considering the fact that it was a Texan that signed the Voting Rights Act into law 60 years ago. So to see that we basically were like, hey, we're ringing the alarms, pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, and we wouldn't have to deal with this fight over redistricting. Pass the Freedom to Vote Act, and we wouldn't have had to deal with Elon Musk being able to actually buy an election. We were trying to throw up our democracy and scream to the top of our lungs at that point. And unfortunately, at that time, the House did their part. A democratically led House does their part. Unfortunately, it was in the Senate where we did not have the support to go ahead and move past the filibuster for the purpose of voting rights. And I think that if we don't have voting rights, we get no other rights whatsoever. And so I think if there's ever a need for a carve-out, it is on behalf of making sure that we can expand access to the ballot box for those that are eligible to vote.
It begs the question of your reaction to what President Trump said yesterday as it relates to mail-in balloting, where he now is asserting that he's got his lawyers drafting an executive order and he's going after mail-in ballots, something that he is very well known for having used himself in Florida. He was an absentee ballot, meaning he was someone who went and got an absentee, mailed that in, like millions and millions of Americans. By the way, 80% in the last big election in California, folks used mail-in ballots. Overwhelming number. What do you make of this latest effort by the president?
Yeah, so first of all, I think that California, number one, is a direct target. We know that California has expanded access to the ballot box in ways in which some of us get frustrated, to the extent that you do have so many mail-in ballots, and you definitely had some nail-biter congressional races that came down to, the last batches being counted, and we know that this postal service isn't necessarily the best run under the current leadership. And so, yeah, it can be frustrating because it can make it to where if there's tight races, it's going to take us a little time. But I think that is what democracy looks like. It makes sure that you hear from everybody, no matter whether or not you're home at the time, no matter whether or not you are encumbered because if you leave your job, you have fear of retaliation, even though legally they're not supposed to. Whether or not you are a caretaker for your children or your ailing parents, it allows you an opportunity to participate. And what they have decided is that participating in elections should just be reserved for the privileged few. They don't want it to be something that allows the masses to participate in. We talked about 2021. But ultimately, what it was is they were passing new voting law standards in the state of Texas because for the first time, they weren't going to have to deal with pre-clearance whatsoever and get the authority. And so they decided to decimate access to ballot boxes, especially after COVID-19, which in the midst of COVID, you had, even in states like Texas, you had very creative secretaries that were going out and they were saying, hey, we need to make sure that people can vote and be safe. You should not have to risk your life to cast your vote. And so they decided that they were going to expand hours in Harris County, where they had 24-hour voting. They had drive-through voting. They did all
24-hour voting, drive-through voting. I'm not going to lie, Chad. I'm not going to lie. I understand we trying to get everybody to vote, but it's a lot going on, man. I don't know if I'm for all of this mail-in, drive-through, 24-hour, like, I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. I don't know. It's a lot going on.
Things to make sure that it was easier. They had multiple drop boxes so that you didn't have to worry about putting it into the mail itself. You could drop it at a drop box throughout the country, or throughout the county. Well, they didn't like that because the numbers showed that working class folk were absolutely able to participate. And if you look at the platform, or if you just look at the actions of the Republicans, they don't have anything good, number one, for people of color, and definitely they don't have anything good for working class people. So the things that they are trying to do is like, yeah, if you've got the luxury where you don't have to worry about losing your job, you don't have to worry about taking care of that kid, you don't have to worry about taking care of your mom. No, you can just go to the ballot box and just vote. And they feel like those are the only people that they want to participate. And so it is very intentional. It is disgusting. And it is one of the reasons that people are so disenchanted, in my opinion, with politics, because they'll say one thing and do another. And I just want people to know that, like, there is a difference between Democrats and Republicans, regardless of what it seems like. Republicans will say whatever it is to convince you to vote. They won't go out.
Y'all think she been watching The Voice of the Politically Homeless, man? Y'all think they've been over there watching The Voice of the Politically Homeless? Jasmine, we've been listening to you talk, man. There is a difference between Democrats and Republicans, but the tactics that you guys use are the same. So I know that we got a nice community over here, and a lot of y'all sending clips to some of these people, and we've been getting a lot more traction lately. But yes, the tactics that you guys use are the same, very similar. The left's does the civil rights persecution and the rollback for the minorities and everything, like we just said. Now, right now, what do we see the right doing? They're doing cultural persecution. Oh, I can't be a white man in America anymore. We see both sides doing it. The mob mentality on the internet. We see it every single night in here. Sometimes the right will flood in here and be going crazy on the left. A lot of derogatory terms and pointing fingers, and then we see the same thing with the left. They come in here, a lot of times the issues aren't even talked about. It's just a lot of slander and mudslinging, if you want to be real. So yes, there is a difference in the left and the right, the Democrats and the Republican. There are differences, but the tactics are very, very similar. Going back to the Epstein files, same thing. One side promised it, the other side didn't. Either way it goes, we not getting it. Going to the gerrymandering. Texas just did what they did to get their the 5 seats that they needed. California responding. All of these other states have been done it. It's the same. Now we got the appreciate that XX. Now we got the y'all get XX some flames for those 2 Jews. Thank you XX for your continued support. Now we got the it's just a lot going on that's very, very similar, man. It's a lot going on that's very, very similar. They're both sides are starting to stand on extremes, you know, like it just has to be a healthy way to do this, man. Both sides are getting pointing fingers. Both sides are getting extreme. Both sides have issues that they will not back down on, and that's where I just call it how I see it, man.
Go out there and campaign and say, oh yeah, we're gonna lower the taxes on the super rich, the super wealthy. At the same time, we're gonna go ahead and take away your health care. We're gonna go ahead and take away your access to education.
Like it's really extreme. Like I'm not for homeless people being forced into jails. Like that's extreme to me. Homeless people being forced to either go to the rehab or take, mental classes or go to jail. I'm not with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, that's extreme. And then on the left, like same way, I'm not with people getting damn food stamp cards loaded up with X amount of dollars on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, I'm not with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, people come over here, slip through on the border, however, and then they getting food stamp cards loaded to the damn max. You know what I'm saying? Maxed out. I wasn't with that. It's gotta be a better solution.
Which is your pathway to upward mobility. They're not gonna tell you like the real story, that they're gonna take food off the tables of people that are hungry in this country while at the same time complaining about unhoused people and trying to shuffle them off their streets. They're not gonna tell you that they're gonna decimate the economy as they always do, and then we have to wait on a Democrat to come in and clean it up. They're not gonna tell you the truth, but they will go after the things that they really wanna go after. Now that is real. But Democrats, we will tell you and we can give you a dissertation of all the great things that we want to do. But we also have this inclination to do things and be like, well, we want to be bipartisan. No. At the end of the day, if we've got the numbers and they don't want to get on board for not only taking care of our constituents, but frankly, a lot of times we're doing the hard work to take care of their constituents. A lot more work and heavy lifting than they're doing. And so what people want to see nowadays, and I get it, is they want to see Democrats be just as aggressive as Republicans are when they are trying to introduce regression into this country. They want us to be as aggressive, trying to make sure.
Correct. There needs to be an option to detox safely. And I've seen Joe Rogan and those other shows talk about like microdosing and how like other countries use microdosing and things like that, and their treatment, and they use faith-based though. Some people use faith-based systems to get out of it, and other countries use microdosing. But either or is better than the current rehab system we have here in America. So there are other options available. People are using them worldwide, but yeah, it's just not working here.
So that we can actually uplift this country.
There's so much to unpack there in the word regression. I mean, it's about rights regression. It's about rolling putting America back in reverse, bringing us back to pre-1960s world as it relates to voting rights, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, across the spectrum. I don't think that's...
Y'all say Vance and Rubio don't even like Trump. I seen a clip of Nick Fuentes calling it out, saying that J.D. Vance is acting like he's all for everything that's going on, but as soon as he gets on to take over for the Republican Party, is going to be back to regular scheduled program, how it was pre-Trump.
Exaggeration, nor what you said about jobs. And for folks listening, since 1989, the end of the Cold War, it's important to be reminded of this. Bill Clinton made this point at the DNC in his speech. 52.
See, I knew that they was going to do that. They're trying to make Newsome look like a Bill Clinton type candidate. And that's why Trump's coming at Bill Clinton pretty hard too, because y'all are seeing Newsome starting to take a more moderate stance over lately. Like, since we seeing him making this obvious presidential nod, you know what I'm saying? Newsome's trying to make, a more moderate stance. They're saying that Bill Clinton was more like a centrist, more like a moderate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see this coming with Newsome, and that's probably why Trump's attacking Bill Clinton a lot harder than he was too. You know what I'm saying? But I do see it. How do y'all feel about Newsome, kind of taking a more moderate stance?
1 million American jobs have been created since the end of the Cold War. 3 Republican administrations, 3 Democratic administrations. 96% have been created under Democratic administrations. The last 3 Republican administrations have one thing in common: recessions. 1.9 million jobs created in the last 3 Republican administrations, over 16 million in the Biden administration, just as another proof point to the extent you needed it. But Congresswoman, I want to talk about another proof point on our democracy. We talk about gerrymandering. We talk about what you guys did in terms of voting the John Lewis Act, which was about an independent national redistricting commission, which the Democratic Party, Republicans were nowhere to be found. The Democratic Party has supported, and they're on record supporting. We talked about what he's trying to do on mail-in ballots, and I referenced the last election was 2020. You reminded me of that, where we were at 80% coming out of COVID in terms of the vote by mail. And the convenience and the opportunity and the security that exists, barcodes, requirements on signatures. There's a process where you actually can track where your mail-in ballot is, and once one ballot is cast, there is no other ballot that can be cast. All the BS Trump is suggesting is a lie otherwise. As it relates, though, to the National Guard, it seems to me all this stuff is connected. It's not, none of this is in isolation. Everyone has to pay attention. These dots need to be connected. You've got the National Guard being sent now, and you talk about what Republicans don't tell you. Those governors didn't tell you they're going to send them from Tennessee, South Carolina, send them from all of these other states into D.C. You work there. You spend you have a lot of your time there. Tell me what it's like in D.C. Tell me what you think this is really all about. And tell me if you think this is a preview of things to come, particularly, dare I say, around election, in the midterms and beyond.
Yeah, so it's very dystopian. It's funny because I used to watch like The Handmaid's Tale, and I can't, right? I never finished, and I can't watch it because it is too close to reality. And so what we're seeing is this militarization, and obviously it started in your state. That was kind of the testing grounds. Going to your state, going to a Black woman mayor's city first, and now we are in yet another Black woman-led city and taking over. And to me, it goes again to the level of racism and hate that is constantly spewed out of this administration. Now, they hate for you to call them what they are, but listen, I mean, if it walk like a duck, quack like a duck, then I guess it is a duck. So, like, racism is racism, and you are specifically targeting these Black-led areas. But more importantly, when you start to connect the dots, one of the things that we didn't talk about as much when we were trying to push forward against the draconian legislation that was coming out of the state of Texas at the time, back in 2021, was there was this provision having basically people be able to monitor you while you were voting. And there was like recordings that came out where these like groups had gotten together and they're like, we're going to go down there. And they were talking about going into the areas that were predominantly people of color and monitoring them while they were voting. And they were limiting the ability of the election judges and the election workers to actually remove those people, even if they were interfering with someone's ability to vote. So it was like, nope, you got to give them one pass. So they could break one law for free. And then you could only get them out when they committed the second violation. And at the same time, they were changing access to firearms. And so essentially in these locations, you could have all these rogue actors that are armed as people of color are trying to go in and cast their votes. If nothing looks like Civil War in this country, that does, like that imagery, right? So now you have someone who believes in this type of philosophy, who now has control of our National Guard. And so, you know, the idea that we thought January 6th was a problem and we thought, oh man, that's bad. And, you know, his army then was a bunch of white nationalist races, whether we're talking about the Proud Boys or the neo-Nazis or whomever, those guys were the ones that made up his army on that day to try to pull a coup. Now you're talking about a guy that every time he disagrees with something, he uses the power that he has because no one around him is checking him, whether we're talking about those in his administration or whether we're talking about the courts or if we're talking about the Congress. That is one of the reasons he is so desperate to make sure that he can win in the midterms, is because he knows that Democrats, it's not even about partisanship. It's about doing what's right. It's about doing the American thing. And to be clear, you can wave all the flags you want to, but I am telling you right now that the most unpatriotic people that we have in this country are MAGA and this president. We are the real patriots, and it is time for us to take our flag back and show people what America is about. You can't say that you love the Constitution while decimating it with every single stroke of a pen for an executive order, while decimating it, while you are disrespecting our troops that have signed up to protect our freedoms, not just here, but abroad. And then you're taking people's freedoms away using those exact same troops. Like, I just don't understand. You know, it's funny, as people have been talking about what's happening with Rev. Nicole Collier, and I've been watching some of the influencers online, and people are asking, what is the red line for you? Like, what will be a bridge too far? Like, why is it that people are still confused about what is happening? And why is it that no Republican will publicly come out and just say, you know what, I'm going to do what's right? When it came down to Senator Tom Tillis, instead he said, well, listen, I'm going to just go ahead and not run for re-election, and I'm going to vote against your ugly bill. But why is it that those that know that this is wrong, why is it that they won't just say that I never swore an oath to any wannabe king? I swore my oath to the Constitution, and I'm going to honor that. Why is it that we don't have that happening right now amongst the Republicans in the House and in the Senate?
Congresswoman, do you hear privately, I mean, do you have casual conversations where people have at least have some courage of their convictions, a little bit of character, and say, hey,
absolutely.
I got to do this, hey, it's temporary, we can't.
Jasmine Crockett got that big ring on, man. I don't know if they got the camera flipped or not. She married y'all, Jasmine Crockett. Okay, girl. See you with the little bob.
What do they say?
Oh, absolutely. I remember right before he won, because one of the things he did campaign on was tariffs. Now, most people didn't understand, and of course he lied about who would be paying the taxes. But he did actually campaign on tariffs. And I remember walking into Oversight, of all places, and I remember a member saying, just so you know, if y'all end up taking the House, because they were nervous that they were going to lose the House. If y'all end up taking the House, we'll stand with you against the tariffs. Like, this is what a member said, because that member remembers what happened to our soybean farmers who never recovered, and ultimately they ended up giving them a subsidy for all that they lost But once you lose your ability to participate in a certain market, it is gone. Like, and we can't continue to just subsidize you to stay in existence. They actually want to be able to sell their products and be able to profit in that way. And so I'm like, this is so interesting. You absolutely were against the tariffs, and when given an opportunity to do what's right, because you know that this is going to directly it impacts all of us. But when you're talking about rural America that is already bleeding population so badly, when we know that we're losing farms consistently, and these are the people that have directly elected you, and then you're not going out front on that issue, that's been one of the issues. They, for sure, were struggling with the big ugly bill. That is why we ended up, they finally decided they wanted to try to pass it in the middle of the night. They were struggling. And I was like, listen, you guys have put out a memo saying no more town halls, because you know that when you walk in, your constituents are mad at you. Ours aren't mad at us. Like, it's bad legislation. But they were afraid about being primary. They were afraid about money being spent against them. And it is one of the worst parts of having such gerrymandered districts, because ultimately they are having to go as far right as possible to end up making it out of their primary. And ultimately they don't have to worry about the general election, because it is drawn to be such a far right, deep red district. That is yet another byproduct of doing gerrymandering.
I'm going to get to you in a second, because I'm fascinated by your approach to politics and how you've come on the scene in such sort of vivid ways. And I say vivid, very complimentary, meaning you're a person of conviction. You share your passion with action. You call people out. And I think this conversation only underscores as well your willingness to call balls and strikes too, as it relates to not being about Democrat, not being about Republican. You talk in terms of patriotism. I love Democrats. How the hell did we lose this battle on patriotism? Just because you put a flag on your lapel, all of a sudden you're patriotic. Our party's not. So I want to get back to all that in a second. But I do want to get just, there's three legs of the stool as it relates to what's happening with the National Guard, what's happening with gerrymandering, what's happening vote by mail. But there's also something that, speaking of vivid, came to us in very vivid ways last week, where we were at the Democracy Center in California. We launched our campaign to try to neuter what's happening to you individually, what's happening to all of your former colleagues collectively, and what's happening in our country on gerrymandering in Texas. But we were there at the site where people were being bused in the 1940s to Japanese internment camps. And at that exact site, at the exact moment of our press conference, Donald Trump sent what is increasingly being referred to as a private army, funded unprecedented ways by the Big Beautiful Betrayal, Big Beautiful Bill, Big Beautiful Ugly Bill, whatever it's referred to, by those same colleagues you were referencing, that allows him to further resource Border Patrol and ICE. And they showed up with the regional director of the Border Patrol as their PR flag at the exact same site. People were being bused to internment camps. This country. It was, to me, chilling in this respect, that for me it was obvious this is also a preview of things to come. We said it about the National Guard when they were federalized. 4,000, I'll mind people listening and watching. 4,000 National Guard were federalized. First time that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, didn't do this in his first term. Sent 700 active military, Marines, not overseas. City in the United States of America. Yes, you're right, and I think it is absolutely legit. Run by an African-American woman. You start to find those dots, and they have a lot in common with what you were referring to and what he's doing across this country as well. But I see where ICE shows up to those lines that you were referencing, to those voting booths. Not just the National Guard being called out under a quote-unquote declaration of emergency. Am I overstating that concern? Or do you see tenets of that? Are you concerned about that as well?
I think that there are no limits that ICE will not go. I do feel like this is definitely his personal army. We know that we've seen reports about January 6ers that have somehow been offered jobs. within the Department of Justice and within various kind of spaces. I think that there may have even been some reports as it relates to ICE. One of the reasons that, I argue that they are hiding their faces is because these are people that should not be law enforcement at all. In fact, I recently dropped one of my bills that was an amendment as we were going through the process of the big ugly bill, where I was trying to get an amendment in judiciary as it relates to Homeland and what was going on as they were trying to increase the dollars going to Homeland. And obviously, ultimately, when the budget came out or when we got the reconciliation.
Y'all double tap the screen, shut a live out. We about 20 subs away from the next sub goal, man. About 20 subs away from the next sub goal. I'm not gonna lie, chat. We finna watch about 10 more minutes of this, then we finna get up out of here, man. We finna get up out of here. I'll probably come back live in the morning before I'm on my travels. I'll probably come back live in the morning before I'm on my travels.
They did increase the amount of money going there, but I basically did an amendment that said, hey, if you end up covering yourself, then no, you don't get the monies. Like, you can't be out there. You've got to be clearly identified. And frankly, it is for the safety not only of the officers, but also of the general public, as we've seen so many reports of people that are cosplaying as ICE, and they are then kidnapping people. They are then vandalizing homes and cars. And so it is emboldening the bad actors to continue acting bad. But the question is, how many of the bad actors are actually on the inside right now? And they don't, because they're not, in my opinion, real law enforcement, so many of them, like, we're not talking about the people that have been there for a very long time and understand how ICE works. Because I'm like, honestly, the stuff that y'all are doing is crazy anyway. Like, people look at law enforcement or people with guns and badges, and they think they're all the same. But they are not trained the same. Whether we're talking about our Marines, whether we're talking about our Army, whether we're talking about our Navy, like, whoever we're talking about, right? Or whether we're talking about, like, our Air Force, and whether we're talking about our local law enforcement versus ICE, they are not trained the same. Local law enforcement is always going to be your investigative group. These are the guys that go out and find the criminals. And I got news for you. If you're a criminal, they don't first determine your status and whether or not it's legal or whether or not there's some issues as relates to your documentation, and then decide, well, you know what? We only go after the citizens. We don't go after the non-citizens. ICE does that. That is wrong. Investigative bodies, they do this work all the time. If there is evidence of a murder, if there is evidence of a rape, a robbery, a DWI, whatever it is, they look at the evidence, they follow the facts, and then they get to a perpetrator. And it's only once that perpetrator is then in custody. ICE, for the most part, is nothing but a ride. That's all they were supposed to do for the most part, right? It's like, you know what? This person is undocumented, or this person re-enters the country illegally, all the things, and then they have an ICE hold. And then ICE gets them so they can then send them out. That's all ICE is supposed to do. Look at them as a fancy Uber driver for immigrants. That's all they're supposed to do. And now they're running into places and doing raids, and they're falling all over each other, injuring each other. Like, we are a joke, but it is a bad nightmare of a joke. And so I don't think that this president has any limits that he won't go to. So I agree with you. Ultimately, if there's something that he wants to accomplish, he has, I don't even want to say her name, but he's got her leading the Department of Homeland Security. And again, this is where our checks and balances failed us again, because these senators allowed for these persons to go through the confirmation process, and they're not qualified. Like, there should have been more senators, and I will give love to the few Republican senators that refused to sign off on the confirmation of some of these appointees within this cabinet. But this is yet another reason that we are being failed right now, because we don't have someone that is currently over Homeland and will tell the president this is a violation of people's constitutional rights. Like, the whole idea of due process, you don't even know what it means, and you are leading, like, Homeland. Like, this doesn't make sense. So we've got a series of failures, and frankly, it feels like it was the perfect storm for him to come in at this time, because people are just too afraid of him. and they are bending the knee. So I absolutely can see a scenario where ICE does too much.
Dang.
If you were referring to Kristi Noem, you may have been. I would suggest you should, and I hope you were. This is the same Kristi Noem, Governor Noem, that just last September, less than a year ago, was on Fox and Hannity by the rumor that then President Joe Biden was going to federalize her National Guard. And she was waxing on about the Constitution and the 10th Amendment and federalism. And Sean Hannity was sitting there shaking his head as a puppy dog saying, boy, Governor, isn't that true? Fast forward to today. It is a remarkable moment, but I want to just, for a brief moment, talk again about you. Talk about one doing your job. I imagine a lot of people said, you're new into Congress. Your job is just to get along, sit back, be quiet, get to know folks, take your time, because time's really the currency in DC. Eventually, maybe 20, 30 years from now, you'll be chair of a committee. I don't see that with you at all. You didn't take any time to sort of just come out, just say like it is, call out people. Just motivation, nature, nurture? Was this mom and dad? Was this who you were as a kid? Or is this who, life is sort of, is the world sort of creating are you sort of meeting this moment because you're so, you need to be held to a higher level?
This shit out, Gavin, damn.
Call out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, well, Governor, you've been involved in politics for a very long time. And with that, you have seen a lot of different types of politicians. People enter this arena with different goals. And I can tell you that I was not born into a family that was super involved in politics. My parents voted, for sure, but they never aspired to be politicians. They never pushed me to be a politician. I never took one poli-sci class. When I was in college, I was not interested whatsoever. And so I think every once in a while you do run across some of those that have literally said, this moment calls for me to step up, and who knows what will happen. And ultimately, that's the story of me being involved in politics. Even by the time I got to the state house, and I was so happy to be there, it was the closest state house race. I was the barely state representative in the state of Texas. I always tell people I was a thank you Lottie into the state house. I won my election by a mere 90 votes. I think that was the ultimate number. And so I won by 90 votes. And I was an underdog. I was outspent 5-1, but I was not outworked. And I was able to convince about 300 volunteers to get involved in a state house race, which was unprecedented. But people believed in my vision, and they believed in my grit and grind. And it was only after one term in the state house that I was called up to the federal level, which I had no intention whatsoever of going to. That was not my aspiration, even though so many people use these positions as stepping stones to get somewhere else that they're trying to get to. In fact, I remember people telling me, oh, you can't be a state rep. You got to go be city council first. And I was like, why? I was like, I don't want to do city stuff. I want to do the state stuff. So why would I do that? And to me, it does a disservice for the people that you're serving if you're literally just there trying to get somewhere else. And so when I got called by my predecessor, along with the former ambassador under Clinton, and so many other people were calling, and I tell people all the time that God has to yell at me to get me to move. But they were like, you should go to Congress. And I was like, no. I was like, I just, barely got out of this election. I don't want to sign up for another hard one. And I knew it was going to be difficult because my predecessor is the only person that ever served the district. She was actually in the Texas Senate, and she was on the Redistricting Committee when the seat was created. She then ran for the seat, and she served for 30 years on the federal level. And so there have been people waiting for decades to run for this seat. And so there ended up being 10 of us. But I believed that for whatever reason, God was really saying, no, you've got to do it, even though you don't really want to do it. And never did I imagine a scenario where I would be one of 435 and a freshman where anyone would know my name. When you talk to the average person and you ask them, name 10 members of the House, they can't do it. So why would I think that somehow I would end up in this situation? And as I told the story at the DNC about my encounter, my first in-person encounter with the vice president, I was really struggling with whether or not I really had done the right thing. I mean, I had gone through a lot. I had won. I didn't really know that I was really fitting, and I just didn't know. And I still struggle. I'll be honest. I still struggle. I don't struggle like I initially did, because when I go home or even when I go other places, whether it is kids that have no ability whatsoever to vote of me and are telling me that they're watching me, and I'm like, what is wrong with your parents? Because I sometimes say things that I shouldn't, but like them being inspired, or whether it is how everything unfolded with the Marjorie Taylor Greene scenario and having like Black women executives that are sitting in these rooms and these tables where the micro and sometimes macro aggressions are so real with their colleagues, but feeling like, you know what, if the Congresswoman can stand in her power, I can stand in mine. Now, the advice is not to call anybody a butch body or a big back or nothing, but nevertheless, like letting them know that you won't cower, because you know that you had to work so hard to get in those rooms. And so like understanding my impact on the outside gives me my fuel to stay on the inside. But it's tough because, as you know how these systems work, it is a matter of, well, you got to be here forever, and that's how you'll get something done. And I'm like, I'm not here to be here forever. Like, I didn't know I'd be here at all, right? So I need to make the best of this moment, and I think that it does a disservice to my constituents to say, well, unfortunately, since I just got here, nothing's going to happen. Like, that's not full representation whatsoever. So, I think if enough people push against the system, then you can start to reshape the system. But we still got a lot of pushing to do.
We love your clarity, your conviction, love your authenticity. And Republicans have been watching, and that's why they have let's and we'll end on this. They're trying to end your political career in Texas. One of the 5 maps that they've put forward excludes your current district, right? You would no longer be, quote unquote, living in the district that they're redrawing. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so what they did is they drew me out of my districts. But since it's federal, I can run anywhere in the state. So long as there is a seat, I could most likely run anywhere in the state. But right now, the seat that they drew me into is also a Democratic seat. And then my old seat is still a Democratic seat. So I feel confident that if I decide that I'm going back to the House, that I'll be able to go back to the House. The thing is, we had 3 Democrats that served the Dallas area, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And now there's only 2 seats for Democrats to really kind of be able to run in. And so I've got to have a conversation with my colleagues to figure out, what are we doing and where. But I'm probably to be honest, I'm probably in the best situation of the 3 of us, because both seats are easy enough for me to win, and at least I live in one and I used to represent the other. The other 2 colleagues that I have are both in Republican drawn seats now. So they would have to run from outside of their districts or move to make people feel comfortable with like them representing their areas.
The truth, I'd be remiss. A lot of rumors about the United States Senate. And I mean, you've had to have some conversations about it, right? I
will tell you that there are always people that are, yelling and screaming for me to go higher. I will tell you, ever since I got to the House, they were yelling and screaming for me to go higher. I can tell you that even when I was a freshman, they did not want me to seek re-election, but instead go after Ted Cruz. And I was like, I just got here. I'm not going to do that. And so obviously Colin Allred went after Ted Cruz, and Colin Allred is now going again after most likely Paxton. And Paxton makes the seat vulnerable. But it would have to be, I will tell you that if I were to run for Senate, it would be because I am convinced of the data that my team, not external data, but the data that my team is able to pull together that shows that I can do it. And I think that anyone who believes that they can win the Texas Senate seat without expanding the electorate, they already have lost. Because when we look at the electorate, always goes one way. And so you have to have the ability to expand. And I also agree with Beto O'Rourke, who believes that we need an actual ticket. We typically run, and whoever's at the top of the ticket is like it, instead of really having like a very strong ticket where different people can bring together different constituencies. So there would be a lot that would go into it. It is not impossible to do in Texas. It is definitely a difficult hill to climb, but I just don't really know where we're going in this country when, you know, we've got a 34-count convicted felon in the White House, and we've got, you know, a guy who was impeached by his own party that is leading the way, who was under felony indictment for almost a decade and who had been under federal investigation forever, and he's their leading candidate to be the next senator from the state of Texas. It just seems like is no low that some of these people just won't go just to say that they have a Republican versus looking at people's policies and figuring out who will do best by me regardless of the label that is on them. And I want people going forward, one of the things that I said during the last campaign is I want people to be selfish. I want you to be selfish and decide that you're going to look at what somebody is going to do for you. And if they don't have an answer about why you don't have healthcare in rural America, they may not be your candidate. If they don't have an answer about where you are going to get new markets as they are cutting out government funding for things such as USAID with these contracts where we were getting farmers to actually farm and then sell those items and then send them over, where we know that our free school lunches are about to be decimated as well. And so many farmers had contracts with so many schools, or I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And so it is time for people to be selfish and decide that they, first of all, understand what government is supposed to do, which government isn't supposed to take you to church. If you need to go to church, go find your pastor. And I'm down for it because I love my pastor. I ride with my pastor. My pastor shows up for me. I am not saying there's anything wrong with it, but if you are seeking a good church and a good spiritual leader, if you are seeking this thing that we refer to as separation of government and church, or church and state, then you probably need to go find you an actual statesman who absolutely understands what it is to take care of us in this country and make sure that we've got a strong economy and that we are investing in our future so that we can remain that beacon of hope for the entire world.
I love it. Well, it's faith and works, as they say. As you pray, move your feet. And we've been watching you, and it's remarkable to see your success. And I think everybody listening knows why you are, quote unquote, one of the rising stars, as most observers have acknowledged in the Democratic Party, and why Donald Trump himself, Congresswoman, yes, get over it, called you the future of the Democratic Party. Thank you for joining us today.
Man, that's crazy, chat. Yeah, they did switch the Cracker Barrel logo to everything tank for them, man. But look, we finna get up out of here, chat. I will try to go live in the morning before I travel, man. So I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. Please double tap the screen on your way out. Share this channel out, man. Do not gatekeep this channel. Share this channel out far and wide. Mods, drop the Discord. I will drop the Discord on the playback. Maybe y'all could join the Discord. Double tap the screen. Share the live out. I'll see y'all on the next one, chat. Good night.